evening. You're just in time for NTV Tonight, and here are the day's top stories from the top bulletin in town.
Tonight,
we will deal with you circumphoniously.
Suspicious expenditure by Sonko's immediate family exposed as Nairobi MCA's deal embattled governor another blow. Absentee MCA kicked out.
I hereby declare the seat of Honorable Habiba Hussein Ibrahim vacant.
And persons of interest. DCI questions 9 individuals. Fake arms deal suspect demands items recovered from his home.
Plus, outrageous or ambitious? Parliament to decide Kenya's president?
That the popular will of the people be manifested through one man, one vote, and actuated through the nomination of president by the party that garners the majority.
National Assembly Speaker and Senators' BBI proposals.
Also tonight, closest case yet. Democratic Republic of Congo reports first case of COVID-19. Italy on complete lockdown.
Live from the Nation Centre, this is NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi and Mark Masai.
Hi there, our sign language interpreter tonight is Flora Atieno. To our top story, and trouble seems to be piling up for the embattled Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. The Nairobi County Assembly is now investigating Sonko over the loss of 2.4 million shillings used to foot bills for Sonko's wife and daughter during a foreign trip.
Sonko has also lost a close ally in the county assembly. That's nominated MCA Habiba Ibrahim, who has lost her seat. The reason? The Assembly's Privileges Committee recommended her removal and the suspension of 2 others, as Vincent Oduor now reports.
Members of the County Assembly passed a report by the Privileges Committee that recommended the dismissal of nominated MCA Habiba Ibrahim for failing to attend Assembly sittings. Habiba Ibrahim is said to be a very close ally of embattled Governor Mike Sonko, who is said to have facilitated her nomination.
Since she was nominated in 2017, up to date, she has never come to assembly nor to the sitting committees. But she has been drawing money from Nairobi County.
The House also approved suspension for 3 months of Kileleshwa MCA Elias Otieno and Airbase MCA Fuad Mohammed for absenteeism.
I hereby declare the seat of Honorable Habiba Hussein Ibrahim vacant. The Secretary Generals of their political parties are aware.
Kitisuru MCA Alvin Palapala also tabled a motion and evidence showing that Governor Sonko used county funds to facilitate a New York trip for his wife Primrose Nyamu and daughter Saumu Mbuvi. Palapala claims that Sonko secured 2 first-class air tickets to New York for the two and even tabled the first-class boarding pass. The trip cost the county 2.4 million shillings. The two were among the Kenyan delegation attending the 62nd session of the Commission on the Status of Women in New York.
They paid the hotels, the boarding pass, and the money was totaling to 2.4 million. So I need the DCI to do investigation. I'm wondering, why is it Saumu is not she does not work at Nairobi County, but she can be facilitated with the money of Nairobi County. Even today in the morning, when I was taking tea at Charlie's, there are people who told me that we are just waiting Sonko to say, we deal with you. We will deal with you circumphoniously.
Speaker Beatrice Elachi has ordered the House Privileges Committee to investigate the matter and table its report on Wednesday next week.
Nairobi County Assembly has vowed to continue playing its oversight role even as the national government takes charge of the essential services at City Hall. Vincent Oduor, NTV, Nairobi.
And as fights for the heart and soul of the capital rage on, Nairobi, the once green city in the sun, is now an eyesore. Heaps of garbage can be seen piling up in the central business district and estates.
Well, insiders say the garbage crisis is a result of an escalating turf war between the city, county and the national government over the takeover of key functions. NTV's Silas Apollo with those details.
For close to 2 weeks now, the city under the sun has been choking under the heavy stench of garbage, littering major roads and streets across the city.
Town ni pachafu sana sana sana. Hata juzi nilikuwa najiuliza kwani Kanjo alivutwa kazi. Kwa sababu hata nilikuwa napita na mananasi kidogo, napita matakataka imejaa kwa barabara. Hata ilibidi nimetupa hiyo mananasi kwa sababu pale palikuwa pananuka uvundo kusema ukweli.
Juzi siko napata takataka. Sasa napata takataka mingi. Na takataka zimejaa kwa barabara, hata ukiangalia zimejaa huku. Zinafaa zinaangaliwa.
One is greeted by the pungent smell of piling garbage in the city center. In some instances, litter bins have been turned upside down with garbage spilling over, others thrown and spread across the road. Others, like traders at the Mudhurwa market, say the problem is not new. Cleaners attached to City Hall say the county has not paid their salaries for close to 4 months now. They say the county has now resorted to blackmail and intimidation.
Julisa tunaambiwa county chalipa pesa, county chalipa sijui, kuna vitu wanasema treasury, finance na environment zinafurukana.
Kufanya kazi ni kama kujitolea. Hii ni kifo. Hata hakuna giraffe unaona tunafanya kazi. Ni kujitolea tu, gambuti hakuna. Ni intimidation kutoka kwa wakubwa.
The problem has been blamed on the ensuing turf war between officials of the county and the national government over the takeover of function, something officials at City Hall are said to be opposed to.
I think people are, the discomfort is always there because one will want to imagine which territory am I entering. That will be there.
It is on this basis that some link the chaos and mess to sabotage aimed at painting the takeover as a failure.
I will want to plead with my government that sometimes in life, when you say you forgive. You know, revenge doesn't help.
It is believed that some workers of the county are absconding duty as others stage a go-slow in an attempt to slow down the delivery of key services. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Elsewhere, DCI homicide detectives have lined up 9 individuals for questioning in connection with the murder of the late AP Sergeant Kipyegon Kene. A number of persons of interest have already recorded statements, but detectives are not keen on releasing their identities.
Meanwhile, Export CS Rashid Echesa, who is the main suspect in the 39 billion shilling fake military tender, was also at the DCI headquarters to claim items recovered from his Karen home. Mel Miendo with the details.
Detectives are planning to call in more staff members from the Deputy President's office for questioning at the DCI headquarters. At least 4 were on Tuesday morning summoned, another 3 from the Department of Defense and 2 from a mobile phone service provider. The employees of the mobile service provider are expected to shed light on who gave instructions to access the system and how they deleted data from the late AP Sergeant Kipyegon Kene's phone. The data was, however, retrieved by detectives and will be used as evidence in court.
This is all politics.
In a dramatic turn of events, ex-Sports CS Rashid Echesa was at the DCI headquarters to claim 570,000 Kenya shillings recovered from his house, as well as 5 cars that had been impounded by detectives from Echesa's Karen home compound a week ago. Detectives asked the former CS to provide a bank withdrawal slip or declare how he received the money. Echesa, however, could not release the information and only stated that the money was from a certain Mheshimiwa. The identities of 2 foreigners seen with Echesa has come into question and whether they were in the country with business permits. Stanley Kozlowski, 55 years old, is the principal figure in the alleged security scam. He is from Lake Zurich, Illinois, and is the manager and vice president of Eco Advanced Technologies. the company that allegedly paid 11.5 million shillings to Echesa to secure the deal. An internet search reveals the company offers different things. On one site, it mainly concentrates on agriculture, while another shows an integrated security system for governments, but without any additional information. The other foreigner seen with Echesa is Stanley's partner Mamdo Mustafa Amer Lofti, who is of Egyptian descent. There is no information on the internet about Mustafa, although it is reported that he entered the country on a tourist visa. Mel Miendo, NTV.
To proposals on the national administration, and National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi wants Parliament to play a key role in deciding who becomes president or governor.
In a raft of radical proposals he presented before the BBI team, Muturi wants governors elected by the Senate as it assumes the role of the upper house.
And that's not all. Muturi also alluded to additional constituencies, as NTV senior political reporter Kennedy Mureithi now reports.
The last day of presentations to the BBI Validation Committee saw the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Senate leadership appear before them in an effort to cement their positions and fight for survival. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi distancing his views from the office he holds and going ahead to make proposals that suggest a departure from presidential and gubernatorial elections.
That the popular will of the people be manifested through one man, one vote, and actuated through the nomination of president by the party that garners the majority.
On gubernatorial elections,
upon pronouncement of results of a general election, the chairperson of the IEBC shall forward for each county the name of one person nominated by the political party with a majority of votes at that county level to the Speaker of the Senate for approval consideration by the Senate.
Speaker Muturi subtly proposes additional constituencies by providing that no constituency should have more than 200,000 people. He also proposes that losers in a presidential election officially become the opposition leader. There is also the proposal to enhance the roles for the National Assembly and the Senate. He says the Senate should be made the upper house with clear-cut roles. He also wants Senate allowed to consider money bills. Muturi also proposes an additional number of senators by providing for the election of one man and one woman per county to bring the membership of the Senate to 94. And in what he says is entrenching political party discipline and enhancing democracy, Speaker Muturi wants political parties without a member of the National Assembly deregistered.
Please, if you are not able to convince even some of the people to elect even one member of parliament, go and do some other things. You know, it's not just politics. That's my proposal. That's what informs my suggestion, so that you can give people a break. Go and you can go and marry.
His proposals on the Senate being the upper house seem to give impetus to remarks by the Senate leadership, led by Majority Leader Kipchumba Murkomen, who appeared before the task force and sought complete autonomy from the National Assembly and enhancement of their roles.
In most bicameral jurisdictions, each house was responsible for its own administration, including provision of services and facilitation to its members and staff. In such jurisdictions, only a few of the functions were jointly managed, for instance, library services, security, and common premises.
And unless, Chairman, you can find a distinction between division of revenue and appropriation law, Chairman, devolution will not succeed. It will fall on the sword of the Senate.
Being the last day for the BBI task force to receive comments from Kenyans, hundreds of them trooped to make sure that their voice was heard and their views were included in the last report, with even the OGEC making sure that their voice was heard, calling on the BBI committee and on Kenyans to give them a voice to be heard as a minority in the country. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV in Nairobi County.
All right, a breather from the politics now and to the locust menace. And guess what? The pesticides used to kill and contain the locusts across the country are about to run out, according to Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya.
30,000 litres of pesticide is expected in the country from Australia. Meanwhile, the handing over of planes from the Food and Agriculture Organisation to the Cabinet Secretary has been delayed due to bad weather.
Well, the CS says that 10 vehicles are also being procured from the FAO and will be mounted with motorized pesticide sprayers. Last month saw the first generation of locusts bred in Kenya hatch and begin to fly. And so far, over 20 counties have been affected by the pests.
Our approach has been to enhance our capacity in terms of the planes that are at our disposal, looking forward in terms of the possibility of other swarms coming from outside the country, and the remainder of the hoppers that we may not be able to have sprayed successfully before they mature. We are expecting some of them could be maturing in 2 weeks' time. In that situation, then we'll have to spray them. So that's why we are increasing our aerial spraying capacity.
Back to questions over leadership. Who or what is the system? That's the question many Kenyans must have asked themselves after Deputy President William Ruto, who is a key member of the government, sensationally claimed that the system was out to finish him.
Well, Seth Olale sought views from political commentators as to the nature of who, what and how the system works.
2022 we are going to have a leader. Mutapiga kura kwa kiongozi wa kuongoza nchi hii. Na kati ya hao viongozi watakuwa kwa serikali William Samoei Ruto, Boni Halwale, na hao wote ambao wako mrengo huo hawatakuwa ndani ya serikali.
Those executing this scheme, this elaborate scheme to undermine and destroy my office and ostensibly to stop me using all these schemes, I want to tell them they may have the system. They may have whatever they have. But I want to tell them we have God.
If they have the system, you have a network across Kenya of millions of Christians who are praying and standing with you.
Hakuna system na deep states kuliko ile ilikuwa na Goliath. Lakini Daudi alikuwa na siri. He knew the secret. Kwamba sio farasi ya vita. Na sio ile kijiti ya vita. Na sio deep state. Na sio naambiwa kama Matiang'i.
Return of the system. A system so powerful that it's the one calling the shots right at the center of the country's governance. But just who really is the system, or the deep state as alluded by Gatundu South MP?
Very influential people in and out of government, and they can influence the way the government behaves. And those others who may not be part of the clique then find it difficult to get their views heard and things like that. But it's difficult to say that this is the deep state. Here it is. Yes. You can't. Because the people involved, in some places they call them what? The establishment. Yeah. Like in the US, it's called the establishment.
It's not just the deputy president complaining of the system.
I'm told that some CSS and the PSS are bragging that the CJ will or should be removed before the end of this year. Really? Kumbe hii nchi kuna wenyewe. Some of us are serving at their pleasure.
You keep low to avoid, attracting negative attraction. Yet you have, and the ones that are very good, they manage to keep as low as they can, and not being seen in any way to be very ambitious, not to be seen to be aspiring.
Some of them are transnational corporations. Others are huge national corporations. Some are huge, huge investors who actually, when they sneeze, the economy of this nation catches a cold. And therefore, they have an overbearing presence in the decisions of government.
the outcome of the Building Bridges consultative forums that might, in the end, recommend for a referendum is being considered as a litmus test, and that which will determine the nature of engagement involving the interested parties in the political arena. Seth Olale, NTV, Nairobi.
Now to the deep state of concern over the spread of coronavirus, and the Aga Khan Hospital is expected to receive a health kit on screening individuals suspected to have contracted the COVID-19 virus. Egypt has reported its first death from the coronavirus, a German tourist who came down with the infection during a visit to Luxor.
In Europe, Italy has extended its emergency coronavirus measures, which include travel restrictions and a ban on public gatherings in the country. Rose Wangoy has more details.
The Aga Khan Hospital will start screening individuals once it receives a health kit. The screening will take a turnaround time of 5 hours and will be open to the public regardless of one's financial status. The hospital has been undertaking awareness programs in educating the public about the virus and set up a COVID-19 response team with 3 levels of governance. The hospital staff has also trained with 6 experts identified to help in creating awareness of the virus. The Aga Khan Hospital has embarked on vaccinating their staff against influenza, given that the symptoms are similar to COVID-19.
We do get this infection in Kenya. Patients will come one at a time, so we should be able to manage most of the time. It's more cost effective to put a mask on the patient than to put a mask on the staff.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has confirmed its first case of coronavirus. Egypt, with 59 cases, more than half of all confirmed cases in Africa, remains the worst hit by the virus on the continent. According to WHO, 10 African countries, Algeria, Burkina Faso, South Africa, Senegal, Tunisia, Togo, Egypt, Cameroon, Nigeria and Morocco have reported nearly 100 coronavirus cases. In an unprecedented move, all of Italy and its 60 million residents has been placed under lockdown with travel restrictions, a ban on all public events, the closures of schools and public spaces, and the suspension of religious services, including funerals or weddings. Italy is the epicenter of the European virus outbreak with more than 9,000 cases. Death toll jumped from 366 to 463 on Monday. It is the worst hit country after China. Pope Francis has also urged Catholic priests to have the courage to go out and help those sickened by the coronavirus. The virus is rapidly spreading across the United States too, with new cases reported in at least 20 states. The country now has 732 confirmed and presumptive positive cases and 26 deaths spread out across 36 states and the capital, Washington, D.C. Asian countries like South Korea are beginning to see a slowdown in the virus spread. It recorded its lowest number of daily confirmed cases of the virus in weeks on Tuesday, a sign that the country may have passed the peak of the outbreak.
All right, we're only into the 3rd month of the year 2020 and the red flag is already being raised about the state of food security in the country this year.
The combination of extreme weather, invasion of locusts and the general failure of some of the mitigation projects aimed at improving food security like irrigation paint a grim repeat of what has become a perennial challenge, ensuring provision of adequate food for the citizens.
Well, is the government reading these signs and preparing to mitigate the food challenge? NTV's team coverage this week calls the government to answer that question: where is the food?
Dry and empty hands, reflective of the land. Where is the food?
Naumia kabisa. Angalia hata mwili. Watoto watano wako kwa kiwango tunaita Zafia acute malnutrition.
There are those people, whether there is food in Kenya or not, will not afford.
The question still shall rise, where is the food?
Tukashindwa kazi ya serikali gani? Hizi maize nyakula ndio tunategemea.
We have a complete roadmap on how to manage locusts.
Ni masikitiko makubwa, yale makusudio yote ya mradi huu ni kwamba hajafanikiwa.
Pesa ya serikali ni ya mwananchi. Kwanza lipa mwananchi.
I ask, where is the food?
As team coverage tomorrow, where is the food, we're asking, and we'll definitely be getting the answers, and definitely from the Agriculture Ministry. We are betting on that.
All right, coming up after the break. Student leadership wrangles or valid security concerns? Stay with us.
At Safaricom Foundation, we believe that people's dreams have the power to uplift their communities. And this is why we are committed to investing in programs that focus on health, education, and economic empowerment. Through Ndoto Zetu, last year, we met one such dreamer, Dr. Michael Kazungu, who believed that improving some of the facilities at Blue Nile Hospital would increase the levels of access to healthcare for the residents of Mkoroshoni in Kilifi County.
Tulikuwa kama wanakijiji tunapata shida sana.
Kwa bahati nzuri tulipo apply basi tulitunukiwa zawadi kubwa sana, mashini ya kupima damu inaitwa Fulmogram machine pamoja na kile kitanda. Wengi ambao wanakuja sasa hivi wanapata huduma nzuri kwa bei nafuu sana.
Ndoto zetu, uwezo wetu.
Your multi-bet is only trying to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because her tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities
for maximum cavity protection.
And now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Hiyo maneno ya kucheza na mfanyikazi wangu mtanikoma, haipehi.
Hata ndioni ukipea Nyambegea pesa ulikuwa unampatia ya nini?
Wewe umezoea shinda, mimi sijazoea shinda bwana. Sikuwa ipitia kukunywa pombe na mnasafiri usiku.
Na vile nimekusaidia kazi. Sasa tuache tulale tu leo.
Mulale kwa nani?
I'm from my morning jog. Ka unaelewa hiyo ni nini?
Wacha kujifanya uko klasi yenye hauko na tunaishi kama gwade sisi wote. Chiwa the girl phrase.
Lakini surely madam, ukienda jogging for 3 minutes, una expect kuburn calories gani?
You run your mouth is too much. Nanita madhe on what grounds?
Welcome home to Amani Rich, the place of peace. Invest in Amani Rich, the place of peace. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Live from the Nation Centre, this is NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi and Mark Masai.
Thank you for staying with us. A section of the University of Nairobi students has vowed that they will continue with their protest until the institution's administration gets rid of the Lavington security, which they allege is behind their suffering.
Well, they claim that 2 people working with the security firm were behind the murder of Kites Ondeng, one of the students who was seeking to be elected as a leader of the University of Nairobi's Student Association. Now, the students went on the rampage last night and burnt down structures, including the security's office.
NTV's Sharon Baranga reports.
Monday night, a section of the University of Nairobi was on fire. The masterminds behind the inferno are students who call themselves Usiku Usiku Rebellion. They burnt a few offices in this building and shattered windows. The aftermath of the night protest left a trail of destruction. The genesis of the protest has been linked to the death of Kites Ondeng, popularly known as Ras, a third-year student whose body was found at Central Park.
The security that were with him, one is called Kevo, the other one is called Spencer. Yesterday when we took Ras to Chiromo, our comrades from KNH did the postmortem. When they touched Ras ribs zilikuwa zimevunjika zote. These places he was beaten and he was left there to die. And we are requesting even Professor Magoa with his counterpart, Matiangi, please delve into this matter. They are saying if the Lavington security cannot go, Osikusiku rebellion is going to continue from today until the Lavington security are, we want them to go.
This is what used to be the University of Nairobi's security office. Last night, students unleashed their wrath here. They say the people who use this office harass them and at times they are brought here for torture.
The time has come where we cannot stand it anymore because we do not know who will die next. Just a few next, a comrade was killed in Chiromo University by goons in Chiromo campus. We kept quiet. Recently again, Kites is here is dead. OCS was shot here. And the reality has been that all this has been rotating around the university security, university goons in the name of security who have been deployed to maim students.
The students claim the current students' leadership has failed them. A few meters from the building housing the security office is the students' hall, which also bore the brunt of the students' anger. Inside, everything that did not survive the night was on the floor. The university's administration held a crisis meeting to try and defuse the situation.
These are cream students who came from their schools being number one. So that means we are good. It's only that the people outside want to make us bad.
Last year, UON students blocked State House Road as they engaged police in running battles, protesting the killing of a former student leader. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Now, leaders from an organization accused of advocating for the reinforcement of retrogressive cultural practices such as female genital mutilation have refuted the claim, saying that they are only promoting the way of the Agikuyu people.
The group known as Gwata Dai says the allegations are misinformed. NTV's Zainab Ismail reports on the developments.
The Catholic Church has raised concern about the activities of the group, labeling it a cult. Leaders of the group are fighting back.
All due respect, I will not say anything to the Cardinal. What I will say is that the statement from the church was a good statement because the church may feel threatened and so it is upon him to do that, whatever he did.
But there's a lot of misinformation. And I know the reason is this. The reason is because some other people have seen, like their past, their business is being interfered with. Here, you never pay for anything.
The association has been accused of promoting female genital mutilation and preaching against Christianity among the Gikuyu community, catching the attention of the church and local leaders.
Gwatandai is not a religion. This is a cultural group which is clearly recognized in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. We are not in conflict. We just come here to express our culture and we do not indoctrinate anybody.
We do not promote FGM. But when you look at our community, there is no happiness, there is no love, there is no empathy or sympathy. It's all why. What is the reason?
On his Twitter handle, Reverend Timothy Njoya wants police to take action against what he termed as retrogressive Kikuyu customs, ostensibly to keep the kingdom, Uthamaki, within the Kikuyu family. Cardinal Njoya asked the faithful to avoid the danger of mixing faith with some cultural beliefs which are not in line with Christian teachings. The group on its part says it will continue to hold its meetings every Sunday. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
The only female white giraffe in Kenya and her calf were killed today, or at least were found dead today, beg your pardon. They were allegedly killed by poachers.
That's right. A group of herders and conservancy rangers stumbled upon remains which they strongly believe belonged to the pair who once roamed the bush inside the Ishakbini, Hirola Sanctuary in Iraja sub-county, that's in Garissa.
The death of the rare giraffes was reported first on Sunday morning and were found in a skeletal state.
Now, Mahat Abubakar, the county conservation coordinator, said that the discovery of the remains of the giraffes after months only tells of the negligence of those tasked with the responsibility of ensuring their safety and their inability to monitor the animal.
It has been reported that they were last seen alive in Hirola Sanctuary in November last year and had been left in the open wild and exposed to danger.
Well, that is a certain sad loss. All right, from that to women empowerment, and women in Kenya are being asked to keep the campaign for equal representation and participation alive.
Veterans in the women's rights movement say although strides have been made, the journey to equality and equity in the country is far from over.
NTV's Brenda Wanga spoke to some of the leaders who now point to the impending constitution review as the next frontier in this movement.
The women's rights landscape in the country is filled with women who dared to chart a path where there was none before. Justice Njoki Ndungu, now the only female judge in the Supreme Court, remembers all too well the hurdles she and others of her time in the movement had to jump through.
Then we started seeing a movement towards a more human rights, democracy-oriented Kenya, and women started now demanding for their rights. You know, at that time we only had one woman in cabinet, Niva Mwendwa. We had very few women in government. In fact, we used to say women were totally invisible in government, and therefore we struggled with the need for representation.
That situation has since changed, and many more women are in both elective and appointed positions in both government and private sector. But the veterans of the struggle say the fight is not yet won.
Have the more conservative communities have elected women. So yes, the country is actually rising, not just, again, as I've said, not just elected positions, but in appointed positions as well.
The path to the present situation perhaps benefiting most from the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution.
The women of Kenya had a lot to celebrate, whether it was in terms of equality and non-discrimination, the Bill of Rights, the protection, the right to privacy, protection from personal violence, right to property, equal rights in marriage, parental responsibility being shared between both men and women. There were a number of things which were to be celebrated there.
Women rights activists now say another opportunity has presented itself for women to assert themselves.
You have an opportunity right now in the constitutional amendment process to put in those gains and say, as women, this is our irreducible minimum. For us to support BBI, we must have this put in the constitution. But if you bring it back...
While the push so far has been for the increase of representation to 2/3, the New Age movement is going for so much more.
We ought to have an equal partnership with men as we continue to build a better country.
50-50 ultimately is the end game for the movement that took root in the mid-70s, marked with the first UN Women's Conference in Mexico. The proponents of the women's rights movement now say they are passing the baton to the younger generation, who must rise to the occasion and protect the gains accrued so far.
We need to engage young women more. Young women need to be less complacent and to get on. The struggle is still continuing. We've still got a long way to go.
Brenda Wanga, NTV.
You're watching NTV Tonight. It's time we take a break, but Julian Amboko is standing by. He's got the latest in business. Julian's.
That's right, Smriti and Mark. We have been chasing quite a bit today, including the woes bedeviling the Kenya Bureau of Standards concerning the reduction of some of the penalties it is levying for non-compliance. That and more coming up in the world of business. The private sector is taking stock of the impact of the COVID-19 has had on the businesses thus far. Find out what proposals are being tabled. This and more in the business news.
The simple little things of life. And I promise if you take the time, you won't be looking for too long before you find this little secret of mine.
To the out-of-framers, the turtleneckers, the fringe growers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel. Join the millions that have switched to Dettol Even Tone, now also in pomegranate fragrance, a healthier skin for an even better you. Brought to you by the Kenya Consortium of Medical and Health Professionals. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute, boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
New Blue Band Peanut Butter. Made with 100% pure peanuts. And a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with New Blue Band Peanut Butter.
Wacha nikupigie, nataka kupata store bonus. Hello? Locust zimeenda? Nakuzeeka? Wacha. Hebu rudia. Ati? Na zinapikwaje? You can't be serious. 200% store bonus. Locust zinakulwaje bila chumvi Na kilo moja mnauzaje? Kokoteni hezi beba, kwa hivyo nikuja napika plini. Ongea na mama yuko hapa.
Tumemaliza story. Cheka storo kibao na 200% storo bonus. Piga simu zaidi, tuma SMS au nunua bundles ufikishe target yako leo. Isitoshe, pata 50% extra airtime unapotop up na kupiga *544*2* amount hash. Safaricom, for you.
This is the only name in business. Welcome, I am Julian Amboko. The Kenya Private Sector Alliance is engaging the government on a number of measures, including tax breaks, in order to mitigate the economic impact of the coronavirus outbreak. Part of the proposals fronted by KEBS include empowerment of local manufacturers to produce at maximum capacity in order to take advantage of the gap created by reduced imports from other countries, including China. According to a study released last week by the umbrella bodies, 6 out of every 10 businesses in Kenya have been adversely affected by the spread of the COVID-19 virus, with 4 out of every 10 businesses reporting losses of at least 1 million shillings.
Some would like some tax breaks, so we'll be exploring that. So when you look at that executive order, it said business will engage through the Ministry of Trade and we'll form a business team. We've already done that, and the first meeting did happen actually last week. Whether government will move to the idea of tax breaks, that is a discussion. It's a dialogue we will have. But mostly it's to say what are the quick measures and easy measures that also does not make government not being able to give the services to the public that it needs to give. So it's just an example of what business said they would like to see government doing in some of the.
Let's talk about quality assurance. The Kenya Bureau of Standards KEBS has been put on the spot over its decision to drastically reduce penalties for importers who do not subject their goods to standards inspection in the countries of origin. Lillian Carrier has the details.
In 2019, KEBS implemented a directive by former Industrialization Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya to lower the penalty for non-conformity from 15% of the value of goods to just 5% before it was gazetted.
Honorable members, you remember we had a meeting.
It is this action that was put under the spotlight by the National Assembly Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives.
The law has to be followed to the letter. You know, you are told to effect something pending. Pending the gazettement. That is what you call impunity.
The MPs argue that Kenya risks being a dumping site and conduit for counterfeit and substandard products.
This committee should make a recommendation that in an event that we lose this case, Chairman, whoever actually acted on this document should take liability on the same.
KEBS was also questioned on the appointment of the current managing director, Bernard Njeraine, which was termed as unprocedural.
Whether you re-advertise, it is still a process. So you should have given us an answer from when the first process began, why it was cancelled, why it was re-advertised, and how we arrived at the current managing director.
The MPs alleged that Njeraine's appointment served partisan interests as due diligence was not followed. KEBS defended its case by saying that the matter was in court, but lack of supporting documents necessitated further probing. KEBS also admitted lacking capacity to certify all goods imported into the country, hence the need to hire foreign agencies.
Kenya Bureau of Standards does not have the requisite capacity to undertake local inspection, and I want to make it clear on all imported used vehicles currently.
The parliamentary committee has also summoned the Trade and Industrialization Cabinet Secretary, Betty Maina, the National Standards Council Board, the CAS and the MD to appear again on Tuesday. Now, KEBS has been put on the spot due to the rising cases of substandard goods penetrating the market. Lillian Kierie, NTV.
And elsewhere, African Airlines currently have a market share of only 20% of the passengers commuting from Africa to other continents, compared to 40% in the 1990s. Of the 20%, more than half are carried by only 5 airlines, pointing to the struggle that African carriers face in growing their revenue. Alex Mwangi reports.
Governments in Africa continue to pay lip service to the execution of reforms crucial to the success of the aviation industry. Consider this: the single African air transport market has 33 countries on board, but only 18 have signed the memorandum of implementation of the agreement. In East Africa, only Kenya and Ethiopia have joined the market.
Sometime in West Africa, only the taxis can represent 40 to 50% of ticket fare. Worldwide, the airlines are making profit of $6.85 per passenger carried, and in Africa, per passenger carried, we are losing $1.09.
Even in the midst of a storm, there can be a silver lining. As global stock markets tumble due to the widening impact of the coronavirus, coupled with the escalating tensions over the production of crude oil, the aviation industry stands to benefit from the reducing prices of crude oil.
Yesterday, for example, the barrel rate was under $45 per barrel. This is the first time since 1991.
As players such as Kenya Airways and South African Airways go through financial doldrums, other countries are keen to prop up their flagship carriers, such as Uganda, which revived Uganda Airlines last year.
But we need cooperation and maybe consolidation between these operators so that they can be sustainable.
The aviation industry in Africa supports 450,000 jobs. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
Farmers across the country have been challenged to embrace soil testing in order to determine the appropriate farm inputs to be used for maximum productivity. Experts from different agribusiness enterprises expressed concern over the poor yields farmers are recording due to the use of fertilizer and other farm inputs that do not rhyme with their soils. They have urged farmers to work closely with the agricultural field extension officers to provide them with relevant information on appropriate farming practices.
We've got good lessons that we shall endure our crops and protect them up to the end.
The biggest issue is soil acidity, and we have fertilizers really aimed at counteracting the soil acidity, but more so not acidifying the soils.
We have been working on that formulation to see which is the best fertilizer formulation that can give us the best yield. So I've learned quite a lot.
Time to take a look at the capital markets on the financial reports. And that's it from the business desk. Mark and Smriti will be back with more.
What would you like to become when you grow up?
As a refugee, you have to improve yourself first.
A doctor. Clap for the doctor.
The most important thing that I've come to know in the camp is education.
We are focusing on empowering them with the knowledge.
When I don't school, how will I get a job?
There are a lot of gaps where we actually need more funding so that the books, the school uniform, the ratio of students per classroom or the ratio of students per teacher can be improved.
iAbiri is a solution that gives you the power to book a ticket to your destination at the right time and the right price. With a choice of over 35 bus companies, iAbiri gives you the power of choice to easily and conveniently book your ticket to all major destinations. Whether you're traveling for a social function, business, work, or a romantic getaway, iAbiri will get you there. Download the app or log on to www.iabiri.com or call us on 0709 215 215 to book your ticket now. iAbiri, your smart travel partner.
Sisi ni team kubwa bana, The Invincibles.
Dude, the Invincible ama the Invisible. Nakwambia hii hapa hivi ndio team kali. Treble trophy. Toyo kitu hapo.
You guys are nothing. You know what's big? This is big.
Think you're a big fan? Take on the big games and enjoy the big odds only on bigpesa.com.
That's big. It's big.
Big Pesa. Game on.
I am Carol and I've invested in the Alma by Saiton located in Roaka. Investing in the Alma was the best investment decision I made. I was one of the area investors and I have enjoyed up to 55% of the capital appreciation. If you are looking to earn above average returns, invest sharp in the Alma Phase 2 today.
Phase 1 is 100% sold. Call to reserve your unit in Phase 2 today.
Welcome back. 157 people who died in the ET-302 plane crash minutes after their flight took off in Ethiopia have been remembered in a moving ceremony to mark a year since the accident occurred.
The anniversary was marked at the site of the crash in Bishoftu, a few kilometers from Addis Ababa, with Ethiopian Airlines staff also present. The memorial was a close-knit family affair, but messages of condolences trickled in from across the globe.
33 countries were affected by the deaths of their nationals in the crash, which occurred shortly after the plane took off from Addis to Nairobi. Monday's interim report from Ethiopia's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau bolstered the findings of Ethiopia's initial assessment, which linked the crash to the plane's anti-stall software.
The crash is the second to happen involving the Boeing 737 MAX, which has since been grounded and stopped from production. All right, in the next hour, the allegations made by Deputy President William Ruto over the weekend that someone is after his life not only came as a shocker, but also inevitably put to question his position as the second in command.
It is unthinkable that anyone would be after him, even as it increasingly appears that he has been isolated by his very own government, something he denies.
Well, to the extent that he believes that the DCI is after his office. So tonight on Sidebar, Ken Mujungu looks at these allegations through the eyes of lawmakers and a governance expert who doubles in as a lawyer, coming up straight after the news broadcast.
Hakuna genuine BBI, fake BBI, all BBI is fake.
We will not allow ourselves as leaders to be intimidated ili watu wafanye mambo yao.
I want to tell those public officers using those offices, soon and very soon we will call them out. If they are men enough, let them come forward and face me.
The Deputy President wants to tell us that one chesa na wale wazungu kwa ofisi yake 1 hour and 22 minutes. Hakuna mtu alimpigia simu kumwambia wazungu wako kwa ofisi yako, and that is the second highest office of the land. Hiyo ni mambo ya wajinga hiyo.
I wonder if Ken is going to be throwing phones on his show. He already has off air. Anyway, that's after the bulletin, and before we wrap up the bulletin, sports is up next with Sean Carter-Villis.
Breathable surface developed with Airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I've found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
Discover the all-new Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Lotion, specially formulated with Nivea's Deep Moisture Serum and Africa's natural cocoa for 48-hour deep moisture. Glowing, radiant skin with nourishing cocoa lotion from Nivea. Get 48-hour deep moisture from the new range of Nivea body lotions.
Your multi-bet is on its way to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Hiyo maneno ya kucheza na mfanyikazi wangu mtanikoma, haipehi.
Hata nione ukipia nyambagea pesa ulikuwa unampatia ya nini?
Wewe umezoea shinda, mimi sijazoea shinda bwana. Sikuwa ipitia kukunywa pombe na mnasafiri usiku.
Na vile nimekusaidia kazi. Sasa tuache tulale tu leo.
Unalale kwa nani?
I'm from my morning jog. Ka unaelewa hiyo ni nini?
Wacha kujifanya uko klasi yenye hauko na tunaishi kama gwade sisi wote. Chiwa the girl phrase.
Lakini surely madam, ukienda jogging for 3 minutes, una expect to burn calories gani?
You run is your mouth is too much. Na nitamare on what grounds?
Welcome home to Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
NTV Sport in association with Mozart Bet. SMS NTV to 29990.
And a very good evening to you. I'm Sean Carter-Villas with the latest sports news. Now, Kenyan sports continues to suffer the effects of the deadly coronavirus, that despite no case being reported in the country. Already the men's and women's beach volleyball teams' dreams of qualifying for the Olympics have been shattered, and doubts abound on whether Kenya will host the Comoros in the AFCON 2021 qualifier, which is set for the 25th of March. Brian Otwell has more details.
The national men's beach volleyball team will not travel to Banjul, Gambia for this week's second phase of the Tokyo Olympic Games qualifiers. This comes a week after the women's team Olympics dream was shattered after their trip to Abuja, Nigeria for the second round of the Tokyo Games qualifiers was cancelled as Nigeria has coronavirus cases reported.
Our position as the National Olympic Committee is that we stand guided by the International Olympic Committee, which is giving us very regular updates. In its latest update, we've been informed that the Olympics will go on as planned, but we've also been informed if there are any developments which can affect the Olympic Committee, then we'll be informed.
Meanwhile, the national men's football team clash against Comoros in the AFCON 2021 qualifiers is in doubt after Football Kenya Federation wrote to CAF requesting for the postponement of the tie due to the risk of coronavirus infections. Both sides boast of players who ply their trade in Europe, which is hard hit by the virus. While Kenyan ace Michael Olunga is based in Japan, where there are over 1,000 coronavirus cases so far.
Can we do it behind closed doors? But as we understand it, the concern from government is not playing behind closed doors. The concern from government is playing a legion of players, a group of players, from one airport to the other, getting them to a hotel, getting them to the stadium. That is the concern. The concern is not even locking it down. It all depends on your country. I think Kenya is being cautious and saying, you know what, let's not allow someone coming in with this as much as we can.
And one more note, where the Ministry of Sports, in a letter to all sports federations, has suspended all travel to international events, and that is until further notice, most notably for the next 1 month. The suspension also involves the hosting of international events that have sports teams coming from other countries. Focus on the effects of the coronavirus in sports, and athletics has not been spared. Our North Rift reporter Steve Keter met some athletes whose races were cancelled due to the contagious virus and brings us this report.
When Irene Kimais and her counterpart Felix Kipkoech arrived at their hotel in Paris on Friday, February 28, they had hopes of performing well in the Paris Half Marathon set for Sunday, March 1st. However, a last-minute communication by the race organizers quashed their hopes.
Race organizer akatuma mtu akatuambia atueleze kwamba hiyo race haitafanyika vile hiyo nini coronavirus imezidi.
Itabidi tumekubali vile iko na tufocus tungoje baada ya ugonjwa kuisha. Season ikifunguliwa next, we hope tutaweza kuendelea pia.
2012 Olympics silver medalist Priska Jepto had hopes of bouncing back to form after maternity leave. But she'll have to wait longer after Paris Marathon she had been training hard for was postponed from April 5th to 18th October.
Nilikuwa nafurahia kwa sababu nilikuwa nimeona mwili imerespond vizuri. Nitaendelea tu na mazoezi kwa sababu itanisaidia tena kwa next season.
Africa University's cross-country silver medalist Benson Moshon had been diligently maintaining the delicate balance between his classwork and training. His eyes set on a higher podium finish at the World University's cross-country championships in Morocco. However, the International University Sport Federation had to postpone the event that was set for 7th March.
My target was winning gold, team Boshima, and with a better time in that cross-country.
Aside from effects on performance, the athletes' wallets are taking a hit.
Unajua tusipokimbia tena ina affect paka management kwa sababu hata hawa watapata kitu. Kuna wengi wenye wanategemea. Sasa nikikimbia hata hawa wamepona.
As different governments across the world continue to battle the spread of coronavirus, it is fingers crossed for the athletes that the contagious virus is contained before the Summer Olympics. Reporting for NTV Sport from Eldoret, I'm Steve Keter.
Now, the national women's football team has been handed a harsh reality check at the ongoing Turkish Women's Cup. For a second match in a row, the Starlets have suffered an emphatic drubbing, the latest being a 3-0 demolition in the hands of fellow African representatives Ghana. This follows a 5-0 humbling in the hands of Chile. David Olmo's Chargers had enjoyed a fairy tale start to the 8-nation invitational tournament with a 2-0 opening match win over Northern Ireland. After the steep learning curve abroad, the Starlets will now shift their focus to the upcoming first round Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifier, and that's against Tanzania in April. Now, just 1 point separates reigning national champion Baldev Chaga from immediate former national champion Carl Flash Tundo after the KCB Nyahururu rally that was held on Sunday. Chaga won the rally but failed to win any points in the power stage, leaving him with 56 points. Tundo finished third and won the power stage to give him 3 extra points, taking his total to 55 points after 2 rounds of the Kenya National Rally Championship. In addition to introducing the power stage this season, which follows the trend of the World Rally Championship, the Kenya Motorsports Federation has changed the point system to increase competition among the entries. The next event is the KCB Mombasa Rally, which is set for early April. It was a brilliant event. Now, Julian Nagelsmann's RB Leipzig will look to finish the job and book their place in the UEFA Champions League quarterfinals when they host Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur on Tuesday night. Spurs, who are on a run of 5 competitive matches without a win, need to overturn a 1-0 deficit at Leipzig in a match that will be open to fans despite the global coronavirus crisis. Meanwhile, Valencia will need to overhaul a 4-1 deficit against Atalanta in the second leg of their last 16 tie at the Mestalla Stadium that will be played behind closed doors, and that's because of the coronavirus outbreak.
Is not an awful defeat, is a defeat that leaves the door open.
We only think about the result of the first leg, so we know that we won the first half and we try to win the second half as well.
A man under pressure, Jose Mourinho. Don't forget, of course, the matches kick off from 11 p.m. All right, that's the latest sports news. Back to you, Mark and Smitty.
We're also out of here. Sean, thank you for the sports, and thank you for watching NTV Tonight. Sidebar with Ken Mijungu is up next. I'm Mark Pasai. Good night.
I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Flora Atieno. We'll see you again tomorrow for team coverage, but of course, stay tuned for Sidebar.